Many people today and religions will say that God's 10 Commandments are no longer binding for us today, that they were done away at the cross. All we got to do now is love each other. And yes, Jesus does say we got to love each other, that is true, but the 10 Commandments are still here, as mentioned in Exodus chapter 20. People will read these couple of verses I'm about to read, and they will say, see, all we have to do is love each other. And again, that's true, but there's more to it. You watch this. Matthew chapter 22 and verse 37, and I will read up to 39. I'm going to read 40 as well, but I'm going to read 37, 38 and 39 for now. And Jesus said unto him, Thou shalt love the Lord thy God with all thy heart, and with all thy soul, and with all thy mind. This is the first and great commandment. And the second is like unto it, Thou shalt love thy neighbour as thyself. And when you read it, yes, it is all about loving God and loving your neighbour. Does that mean the 10 Commandments are no longer binding? Not at all. When you look at it, look at the first one again. Thou shalt love the Lord thy God with all thy heart, and with all thy soul, and with all thy mind. This is the first and great commandment. How do we love God with all our heart and mind and soul? How do we do that? Well, you go to the first 4 commandments, which says to worship God only, not to take his name in vain, not to have any idols or graven images, not to bow before them, and to keep his Sabbath day holy. And then in verse 39, it says the second is like unto it, Thou shalt love thy neighbour as thyself. How do you love your neighbour? As yourself? Simple. You keep the last 6 commandments. Okay? And not in order, but basically obey your parents, don't kill, don't steal, don't commit adultery, don't be jealous of your neighbour's goods, like don't covet. And I'm missing one, aren't I? I can't think of it, but you'll find it in Exodus chapter 20. So the first 4 is our love to God, and the last 6 is our love to our fellow man. Now, just to say that the 10 Commandments are based on all this, or these 2 are based on the 10 Commandments, I should say. Let's look at verse 40 now. Again, of the same chapter, Matthew chapter 22, verse 40. On these 2 commandments hang all the law and the prophets. So where do you find the law of God? Exodus chapter 20, the 10 commandments. So, are the 10 commandments still binding today? Absolutely. I'm absolutely sure of that, because the Bible tells me that, and I know the Bible is true. I'm not talking about the Bible again, I'm talking about the King James Version of the Bible, is what I truly trust and believe in. And it tells me the 10 Commandments are in the New Testament. People call it the New Covenant, what I just read here, and they call the 10 Commandments in the Old Testament the Old Covenant. Basically, the New Covenant is summarizing the old covenant. Nothing has changed in it. It's just basically summarizing it as the first commandment, love to God. The second commandment, love to our fellow man. And that's all it is. So the 10 commandments are still here. And Revelation 22 verse 14, the first part of it says, blessed are they which do his commandments. And again, John chapter 14 and verse 15, Jesus says, if you love him, you keep his commandments. And you keep his commandments as in loving God and loving your fellow man. You can't go wrong, and you will live a very happy life in obedience to God.